What's up, my loves, and welcome back. So today I am going to share a vlog with you because finally the time has come for my spiritual retreat with Kallima. So I'm currently just soaking up the sun in a 5-minute break in my garden between finishing off work and packing. I have been working like crazy for I can't explain to you how much stuff has come in, and with the change of seasons as well, I felt really off in myself and a little bit unwell as well. So I am literally looking forward to this. I got offered work in between this time at the weekend, and I'm usually one person to be like, yes, I want to work, and I was like, no, I'm not going to work. I'm definitely going on this retreat. I'm not pulling out of it. And then the petrol shortage happened this morning, and I had no petrol in my car, so I was one of these people that unfortunately had to go out and fill up their car with petrol, not because I was panic buying, but necessarily everyone else was panic buying, so therefore I needed to fill my car up with petrol so that I could get to my retreat today. I was like, I am not getting to this retreat for love nor money. I'm gonna go. So just to explain this retreat and what you're going to see in the course of this video is essentially a spiritual retreat. We're going to be doing mediumship, past life regression. I'm going to be doing some chakra workshops. I'm not actually doing the psychic workshops. I'm doing more of the inner spiritual work, so I'm not going necessarily down the divination route in this retreat. There is the option to go down the divination route or the more spiritual route or the trance route. I am going down the trance route. I'm going to learn to do some trance. I'm going to do some past life regression. I'm going to work with my higher chakras and just see what happens. As well, while we're here, there is also a seance which I will not be filming for obvious reasons, but I will be reporting on, because obviously I have done that before and reported on for you seances, and I did mention them in one of my last videos about Ouija boards, about how I particularly only do seances with people. I wouldn't do these things without people I didn't trust, so I'm going to also be doing that, and I just thought I'd take you along for the ride. It's going to be interesting, and I'm hoping that it's going to spark a little bit of a resurge of energy within me as well, just being able to take time off and doing something that I really enjoy. Though there have been so many points over the last week where I've been like, should I cancel this? And soul's gone to me, no, you can't cancel this purely for your happiness. Or I haven't wanted to cancel because I'm like, no, this is for me. This is the one thing I've done for me in the last 2, 3, 4, even 5 months. So I'm going to go ahead and pack in a minute. I just thought I'd introduce you to the video, because if not, I will forget. I've essentially finished work. I've got 3 hours before I need to leave. The reason is because of the whole petrol crisis thing. We only decided to fill up 1 car. We didn't decide to fill up 2 cars. So will be using my car for the weekend for his work while I'm away. So he's going to be dropping me off. So I'm going to be getting there a little bit late this evening, but I don't really mind, because at the end of the day, that means that someone else can have a car full of petrol and they can still get on with their life as well. Sharing is caring and all of that. So yeah, I've actually got 3 hours to get there, and I'm going to get there probably half an hour late, because the time, the location where it is, that time in rush hour is just absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, I'm not actually going to take a lot of stuff with me. I have packed some things because most of the supplies, or all of the supplies, are given to you. Food's provided for, the location's provided for, even pens and notebooks. Obviously I am taking my book of shadows with me so I can do my own journaling and things. So I'm not actually taking a lot with me. I don't feel the need to be wearing makeup or anything like that, but I am going to be packing my tarot cards with me, and I'm also just going to be packing my camera stuff so that I can film as much as I can. I'm assuming in parts I won't be able to film, but you'll at least get my depiction of it live if I can. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy the sun for at least another 10 minutes before I go in, because well, it's not often I have time to enjoy the sunshine, so I'm going to enjoy the sunshine. What's up, my loves? So I've actually gone through, I'm just at the train station at the end of the world, because petrol crisis means I couldn't drive here, and it takes an hour. You only get a train every hour down this end of the woods, clearly. So I'm just sitting here chilling, and I thought I would have a chat with you, because basically I didn't film as much footage as I wanted to for the weekend, quite frankly, purely because I wanted to enjoy it. I was so engrossed in the workshops, and as I will sit down and explain later on when I'm home, and I will show you guys the footage that I got, I spent pretty much from Sunday about 12 o'clock until 6:30, 7 o'clock. Not really with it, where we did so much past life regression and astral projection. I was not on this realm. I was kind of in and out the whole entire time. They were really deep. I was extremely tired. Absolutely fantastic, but also meant that I didn't really get a lot of footage. But I have got a few things I wanted to talk through you guys with what I got. But I had an absolutely amazing time. Although I've literally got back and had to work my ass off this morning, I had an absolutely amazing time, so much so that I booked the retreat in March straight away. Got a ticket from my best friend as well, so she can come along with me. And for the sake of you guys, if any of you here are interested, who are local, don't have to be local, but interested in this type of retreat, then I will leave the link down below, because there are a few spaces left, purely because most people who went booked again. I would honestly wholeheartedly recommend it. It was amazing, and I have so much to share with you guys about, come on wind, apologies, I'm outside, about what happened, what I went through, what I learned, because even someone like me, it's always a constant learning thing. Like, you'll never ever hit the nail on the head. You'll never ever be done learning. The whole point of this life is to constantly experience, and you're never going to be done learning in that aspect. Oh my god, another human being at the train station. And I often forget that. I often just kind of get carried away with the fact that like oh, I don't need to learn, like I know this, but it's more practice over learning. And there's a few events this weekend that only shocked me, but also like I hit the nail on the head sometimes, and I felt really connected to spirit, which I'll explain to you. But yeah, I just wanted to check in and say apologies. It's not kind of going to be like a whole vlog. It's going to be little clips of things that I managed to get, because I really did want to enjoy the experience, and I did wholeheartedly enjoy the experience to the point my phone was off. We had barely any signal. Yes, I was still working and still talking to people, but I did just have that like on Wi-Fi, set times to talk to people. I didn't take my laptop. It was absolutely amazing. I came back more drained than I went, purely because of the type of work we were doing. It was energy work. It wasn't just me, it was my different bodies, my higher self, like every part of my being on every single layer had to work hard this weekend. So I'm just as tired. I'm really hoping that once this train comes, that's it for me, done for the day, to be fair. So I am, apart from filming obviously a kind of breakdown for you guys, which will take probably like an hour and a half. It's going to be like a want to get a cup of tea vibes. But yeah, I'm literally just waiting for the train. I'm hopefully going to charge my phone and just read my book now, and then hopefully get back in time early enough to film you guys a breakdown of the retreat, because it was intense, so intense, so fucking intense, but I loved it. So I'm finally sitting down. It's actually a whole entire day later than when I filmed the last clip. I have been overwhelmed with work, and due to the petrol crisis, it has been a nightmare to be able to get my work in and get round easily, and the time that I would have had to film it just basically disappeared while I was sitting on the train. Are you comfy, my fluff? Oh my god, you're never going to quite believe this, but my camera battery just died after I literally just said I've had so many problems trying to film this video. Fluff, are you going to get back on? So yeah, I finally am here sitting down, fingers crossed this records, filming the video for you guys and the review of my retreat. Like I mentioned, I didn't get that many clips. I just got kind of short little snippets, which I'm going to share with you guys. But I absolutely loved the retreat. I think I've probably said this 100 times already. I absolutely loved the retreat. Had so much fun. I think I developed so much. I learned a little bit about myself, a little bit about myself that I didn't want to learn, but I'll explain that in a minute. So just starting off, due to the whole petrol issue, basically rather than driving down there, I was dropped off. But it also took so long for us to actually get to the location, like an extra hour, because the motorways and all the main roads that had petrol garages on were obviously backlogged. So there was a huge backlog along all of the key key roads. So it basically took, I love it when he sits on my lap, it basically took an extra 40 minutes than it needed to. I was going to be late anyway, and I'm pretty sure I was like the last person in. Like when I walked through the door, they were like, oh my god, Emily's here, here's Emily. And I'm like, at this point I'm like, excuse me, can I just go to the toilet, and I need to go get some toothpaste from the shop. But yeah, I felt like I was the last person to check in that was there, but yeah, they let me in and we're here. So yeah, it did take a little bit longer to get to. The first things first, obviously we had our debrief and everything, and then we got given a goodie bag. And have I left it in the bag just to be able to show you what's in it? Of course I did. So first things first, we have a like a folder that's basically got our shit in for the weekend. So it's got all of the paperwork that we've basically received. I'm not going to show you the paperwork that's inside because that is personal to me, but obviously you know that my grimoire is actually a folder, like a big binder folder, so I will be using that and some of the pieces in that for my grimoire. So I really love the fact it was in a binder, because obviously it means that rather than in a book I don't have to transfer it. However, that being said, we did actually receive just like a little notepad for the week, which again I didn't use purely because I have my own book of shadows and I know that I will probably want this again in the future, and I didn't want to start a new notebook. So I just kind of left all and put all of my notes in my my book of shadows, which I took with me, which was in my bag, which has some of my notes in. So I kept that basically for a rainy day when I finished my current book of shadows and I need another notepad to write stuff down or to journal. This cat is well and truly snug on my lap. Huh? Can you see here? Nope, he's too busy just licking the blanket. Anyone else's cat lick the blanket? So next up, what else have we got in here? We've also got a pen, a pencil, and a sharpener. Obvious reasons, so you can write. Really impressed by the sharpener, I'm not gonna lie, because that's just next level. And also the pencils actually have Kallima Spiritual Center written on them. They're not just like boring pencils, branded. Okay. And then a few other things. We got a Nag Champa incense sample, which I'm yet to burn. I got this I actually didn't see when I was there, but I saw when I got back. This is a, what do we call it, a laminated picture. That's it. And the thing on it says 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. I thought that was really nice, and so did my partner. My food plan and my schedule was in here as well, so you got a schedule of like all the events that you picked and what you're doing. A name badge so that people could know my name. We got a wax melt tester because they have their own like apothecary there, and we also got a black obsidian crystal and a small little sage bundle in there. So obviously that was super fun and super exciting. I was glad for all of my things. And then we basically had dinner. I was extremely happy by this because, well, I was hungry. I'd had a late lunch anyway because I didn't know if we were being fed. I couldn't quite remember that aspect of the Friday night, but I was really happy to be fed. And we had jacket potatoes. Do you know what? I have not had a jacket potato in so long, and it was just so good. Like, I forgot how good a good jacket potato was. And we got on and we did a quiz, like a group quiz for everyone, so it's kind of like a little bit of an icebreaker. And my table, I was like, right, everyone, let's just like chant that we're gonna win. So I was like, right, okay, we're winners, and we were all talking like we already won this quiz. I was like, come on, let's just like law of attraction it, because I like to compete. And so anyway, we did that like right before we started, and due to the time we had a shorter quiz, which in a way worked out really well for us, which I'll explain in a minute. But there was also a quiz round about the London Underground, and I would have smashed that. Like, I know the London Underground. So yeah, we had a quiz and we did 5 rounds, and we basically got to double up on one round, and we doubled up on the Disney round, which basically meant that we ended up absolutely smashing it. So I couldn't really contain my excitement when the first table said their score. I was like, oh my god, we beat someone. And then I found out that we beat everyone, and that was cool. So we got to pick a prize, and the prize was some more wax I love smelly things, but this wax melt is in the Jimmy Choo I Chew You fragrance, which is actually my perfume. So I was really excited to be able to have that. And then for the rest of the night, we just kind of chilled. We had a chat. I actually had a really early night, and there's a little bit of a clip where I'm talking to you, which I will insert in a minute. So sorry if I repeat myself. Of me when I got back, I've got a really sore throat. Of me when I got back upstairs, I had a really early night because I was actually quite tired. I'd been working a lot the last week, and to be fair, today tomorrow, technically tomorrow, this afternoon, tomorrow and Friday, like my first days off in whatever feels like forever. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I had a really early night. So I just got back to the room from dinner, and just like the welcome intro bit, and also a quiz. So we got a goodie bag when we started. I will show you that all tomorrow morning or tomorrow at some point when I'm not really busy. I'm not entirely sure what order I'm going to show you stuff in, but I will try and edit it in order for you. But yeah, we just had the quiz, which was really fun. I honestly, the whole entire time before we started this quiz, I was like, we're gonna win. Everyone say we're winners, and they're like, we're not good at quizzes, and I was like, we are winners, let's all just say it. And we did. We're like, let's manifest this win. And then when it came to actually handing out the scores, we were like last, we were like the last team, so like to say our score. So it was really funny because I didn't mean to say anything, but the first person, or the first team, said their score, and I was like, oh my god, we beat someone. But I thought I was going to say that really quietly. Turns out I didn't. Turns out I practically shouted it across the whole entire room, which was absolutely hilarious. And then it turns out we actually won, which was super cool. Can't believe we won. I answered a question about the UN flag colour, and I was like, I think it looks like this. No one else had an idea, so we put it down and I got it right. I was like, I'm so proud of myself. So proud of myself for that. And obviously I got the Harry Potter questions, you know. So yeah, that was fun. But I am literally having an early night tonight because we are up and we start all of our stuff at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And obviously I've been up from 5 o'clock for like the last 4 weeks. So I am literally in bed. I've got my Kindle ready to go, and I'm just gonna have an early night and just catch up on sleep to be in top form tomorrow to start learning, which will be super exciting. But yeah, just happy vibes. There is so many good happy vibes here, so that makes me really happy. Oh, and I had the best cake that I've had in so long. Anyway, good night for now, and I will see you in the morning bright and early. And then in the morning we had breakfast. I got up quite early. Quite luckily, the people I was in a room with were early risers as well, so it was great. We were all up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, just chilling, just having a chat downstairs with cups of tea. And my first class was higher chakras, where basically we spoke about unblocking our chakras, how to unblock our chakras, what we can use to unblock our chakras, their purpose, which was a nice little refresher for me. And also some of the things that really kind of stood out for me there, and I really learned, which was when Jason basically turned around and goes like, obviously I'm using my throat chakra a lot, but this weekend I am talking all weekend, and therefore I know that on Monday I need to rest that chakra and I need to take a rest day. And I just thought, oh my god, like I exert a lot of my chakras and just a lot of my energy in general, quite a lot, and then I never ever tend to recover, and I crash and I burn and I get sick. It's like one of these things, I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling well, and we're always like, yeah, it's because you're working, like deal with it. And I never ever looked at it as like recharge, like you would recharge your chakras or recharge your phone or something like that. I never really looked at it like that, so that was quite interesting. And then I went on to aura colours and aura painting. I absolutely loved that. We got to paint each other's like aura, learn about the aura colours, what certain colours mean, what it means when they're dull, what it means when they're bright. It was actually really fun. I like getting crafty. And then we actually overran a little bit, so we had to finish that class off the next morning, which was fine. And again, I got to do like a full body scan reading of someone, and my cat is literally eating these wax melts, or trying to. And yeah, I liked aura reading. I always like looking at people's auras, and when I could physically put it down on a piece of paper, what I could see and the colours that I was getting and the blockages and stuff, I could then look at the piece of paper and be like, yeah, that's the vibe I get off the people. Like the vibe that the painting's giving me is actually the vibe that the person's giving me, which is quite cool. Yeah, I thought it was so much fun, and I'm going to continue doing that. I've ordered some watercolours, and I'm going to start with my cat and just walk around my friends and be like, hi, can I give you aura readings? Thank you very much. Here, have your picture. So yeah, mine was quite blocky. The person who was reading me actually hit the nail on the head at one point, because she basically put some ovaries as blocks, and she was like, I can see that your ovaries are blocked. And I was like, wow, you don't know that about me, but yeah, that's a thing. Like I actually have a problem. So it was quite cool to kind of see like where they'd put the blockages and if they related to things that actually go on in my body. Then broke for lunch, had some more food. Basically, this whole entire weekend, I ate a lot of food. On the way there, Sol went to me, he was like, oh, so is this like one of the retreats where you barely eat anything again? Because last time I went to a retreat, I barely ate anything, and as soon as I got picked up, I was like, please take me to McDonald's. And I was like, no, these people aren't like that. These people are the type of people to cook me a bacon sandwich in the morning, okay? We are foodies through and through, and I'm pleased to say that they did not disappoint on that front, and I ate like a fucking queen for the whole weekend. Just it was so kind of like a really good mix of really bad stuff and really good stuff, like for your body. That makes sense. So there was just the same amount of cakes as there was salad, you know. And then after lunch I went into psychometry, and psychometry is something I've done once or twice before at Kallima, and I'd like to say I personally did well in the class. So psychometry is where you basically hold an item and you get a reading or a feel for the person that's in spirit or of that person in general, and you basically bring someone through based on touching someone's item. And the reason I said I hope I did well, or I think I did well, is because the girl who I brought through, I said that I'd got a woman. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I basically said I felt like this, and this is why I felt like this, is why I think I felt like this, aka this is what they died of, and this is how you're dealing with it. And the woman was like, yeah, that person did die of that exactly. And I had basically had a sickness here. I thought I was going to be sick the whole entire time. And the lady that read me, oh my God. So I handed over my grandmother's engagement ring to her. I've never taken it off. I've never given anyone my grandmother's engagement ring. And I've also never ever had someone fully bring through my grandma. She's not that type of person. She doesn't really come through a lot. A couple of people have brought her through before because she's been there, but she's not a very talkative person. Yet for some reason this lady could get off, and it could just be the pure connection, the fact that she's quite a wish-washy person, and although I have an attachment to her and that relationship is there, where she lived up north I don't have a huge relationship. So as this was the first time I physically handed over an object of hers to someone, they managed to get a really good reading, to the point of there are things that she wouldn't have known. That lady who read me would not have known unless she spoke to my stepdad and me. Like, the things she was telling me were me and my stepdad standing inside the hospital room knowing these things. It wasn't anywhere on the internet. It wasn't just nowhere. Like, not even my mum knew half the stuff. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't some information that was easily found. It was genuinely, it took me back. It still has taken me back, to the point the message was actually from my mum, and then someone else brought through her husband, so my granddad, and said that, like, she was getting a woman and a man. The man was just like, no, tell her I'm here, this is all bollocks, but tell her I'm here. So that message I then passed on to my mum, which I wholeheartedly would not have done if I didn't feel confident or 100% convinced. Like I said, no one has ever been able to pull my grandma through like that, which took me back. And the message wasn't for me, the message was for my mum, and usually I would not pass that message on, but I felt that because the reading was that fantastic, that I asked, oh my God, I keep getting, my cat's molting and I'm allergic to my cat, so apologies if I blink and like choke up. I would not have passed that message on. I passed that message on to my mum, and then proceeded to have a conversation with my mum for an hour while she cried. But I thought that lady was amazing, meant a lot to me, and it kind of reignited, not only have I got a faith and a trust in this whole thing anyway, but it kind of ignited that even more, because it's quite easy to get my granddad through. I had a good relationship with my granddad, so even if people were just kind of like guessing, not that they are, I trust these people that I train with, but lots of things to relate to is what I'm basically trying to say. There's lots of things that you could say that I could relate to that person. Yet with this grandma, there's not a lot you can say to relate me to that. There is not a lot there. It was a very, very traumatic passing in the end for me, not for her. It was for her, but what happened and how I viewed it and how I thought about it is very, very, very specific. And therefore the fact that someone could depict that to me, and like I said, that information is between me and my stepdad, the only other person that's going to know that is him, that it gave me more faith once again of the afterlife and more things that could go on, because it was spooky. So that's what I did then. What did I do after psychometry? Scrying. I did scrying after psychometry. Scrying is where you stare into a mirror and you basically go into some sort of trance so that you can see and allow the reflection to change into someone else. Brief explanation. I've done it once or twice before and I think I've mentioned it here, but I've tried scrying and the only person I could really pull through was my granddad. This time it was really weird. I had two experiences. The first experience was as the person observing the person scrying, and what got me was I could physically see the lady in front of me, and obviously I walked around the room, so we were like, I think there was about 6 pairs, and the observer got to look around the room and I could see someone completely different in the mirror than the person sitting in front there. It was mind-blowing. Like, it freaked me out. The first one was I looked into a mirror and I'm like, oh my god, that is like Dudley from Harry Potter. That's who I saw, that kind of person. And I'm like, this is a skinny blonde woman and I'm looking at Dudley from Harry Potter in the mirror. That got me to the point I had to completely recompose myself and be like, whew, okay. It was really, really fascinating to watch, to the point I would love to just watch people do it over and over again. It's really quite cool who you can allow in. When I got around to doing it myself this time, the last time I only got like a glimpse of my granddad's eyes. This time we were asked to bring our spirit guides in close. The conversation we had beforehand was, have you ever physically seen your spirit guide? And I have seen him in a way. I've seen the shape of him and how he presented himself to me, but I've never, and I know his name, but I have never ever seen his face. Like, it's just a figure. And so that was my mission. My mission was to try and allow my spirit guide, who is the closest person to me, to show himself on my face. And he did. It was not what I was expecting him to look like. For someone who's called Henry, he doesn't look like a Henry. He is not English. He's more like Native American, maybe Mexican, maybe more like Indonesian, Malaysian, that type of vibe. He has cat eyes. It's quite interesting. And although I was seeing him, his face never ever changed, but I did start to get overshadowing of other people on the face. So I could then see, and what I mean by overshadowing is I can see their face, but I can see like a mist of someone else's face on top. So imagine if you just basically put someone else's face on top and reduce the opacity down to like 20%, where you get that, you can see the original image behind, but you've got that overlay. I did then start to get that a couple of times for different people, especially when I was asking like relatives to come through, but I never ever lost my spirit guide's face. And when I tried to explain to the girls the next morning what my spirit guide looked like, because we were having this conversation, I was like, I couldn't really explain it. To this moment, I can't even explain it. And if I'm clever enough, I'll put the picture up. I was scrolling through Facebook as I was having this conversation and I was like, oh my God. They're like, what? And I was like, this is what he looks like. And I'm literally having a conversation to the girls about what happened. And we're all just going through it. And then I literally see a Adobe advert, right? An Adobe Creative Cloud advert with his fucking face on. Like, that is what he looks like. That type of person, like literally that with cat eyes. It was really cool, really creepy. I was like, wow, he's listening to me. And he's literally like, no, this is what I look like. Just tell them what I look like. It's kind of like, oh, okay. You listen to everything I do? Whoops. Wow, my spirit guide knows way too much. So yeah, we did the scrying, and then in the evening we had the seance after dinner. So again, I had more food, had the best slice of cake. Oh my god, best slice of cake. And we ended up doing a mixture between seance and spirit boards. So we did get some spirit board action going through. I mainly got messages for my friend, which her grandma always seems to come through to me. So I passed that message on, knowing full well one day she'll figure it out. But the two people I was with on my spirit board had never done spirit board before, so it was really quite nice to see them get some messages through. And then straight away we went into seance, and seance isn't my most favourite thing to do, if I'm being completely honest. Seance is like next level for me. I am still very much in that whole I can see shit, it freaks me out stage, and I tend to put a block up. So I've spoken about this before, but the whole reason I started this was physically I could see people Sometimes I see people, sometimes I see orbs, sometimes I see shadows. Either way, it freaks me out somewhat, no end sometimes. So I tend to avoid these situations, but obviously in the moment, in the vibe, I was going to do it anyway. So we're sitting there, we've got everything set up. So we've got like the light and the noise that picks up on extra movement. We've got all of the teddy bears and stuff laid around. They've got lights in them again, as long as you touch them. It's like with the balls, you could physically pick them up and like hit them on the floor, but as soon as they were lightly touched, they went off. So yeah, they're in the middle of the room and everyone else is around, and we're having this conversation. They're like, is anyone here? And the light's going off, and basically all of a sudden I got freezing cold, and Kayla turned around and was like, oh my god, I'm really cold, and like between us I feel really cold, and I was like, I'm freezing. But my whole body was shivering, like literally shaking, shivering. And Ronnie turned around and like in the group, and she was like, Emily, there's a little girl sitting on your lap. And I was like, what? Bear in mind, we just had the conversation, does anyone not want spirit to sit on their lap? Knowing full well that I would be picked on if I said yes, I basically shut my mouth. And guess what? It turns out spirit can read my head, and spirit was like, I'm gonna go sit on hers. So yeah, Ronnie was like, literally, there's a little girl sitting on you. And so I got her name out, we were having conversations with her, and it basically turned out that a couple of people or spirits needed to be rescued. So we ended up performing a rescue for some children, and it was lovely to watch. Quite relieving to watch, quite rewarding. But at the same time, this little girl that was on my lap, that I had a conversation with, and we'd all had a conversation with, I felt very much like, well, if she's sitting on my lap, I need to protect her. Like, there's a reason she's here. She said that she was comfortable, and I felt very, very attached to this person, very, very protected. So when it went away, I literally whispered underneath my breath, I was like, it's okay, like, you can go. Because I felt like if I thought that and I quietly said that, that would not only basically allow me to detach and be like, no, you'll fucking stay here, but they would go. And I felt a little bit sad, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little bit sad when the whole thing happened. I was like, it was kind of a bit like, well, if I knew personally that I had someone to look after, whether a spirit or not, I'd look after them, okay? That's the type of person I am. I'm very much of a nurturing person. I like to do things for other people, probably way too much, but I like to do things for other people. So I got that. Obviously everyone, I did not do it, I just joined in with my energy to people. But the ladies got her over, and I felt somewhat relieved, but also somewhat sad that they'd gone. So after that, I was extremely tired, more tired than I was. It turns out this whole weekend where I was like, oh, I'm going to be completely chill and it's going to be a nice fun weekend, actually was so much energy work. I was so drained. So I went to bed and I did not sleep well that night, okay? I ended up having visions, or dreams as you might say, of these children that we had just rescued, but in so much detail. And then I swear to God, someone grabbed my leg, right? And I woke up in the middle of the night, about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I literally felt someone had grabbed my leg. And literally I was in a room, it was black, the girls were asleep, and I was like, okay, chill out, Emily, turn the light on. Ooh, that was a loud motorbike, wasn't it? Turned the light on and just went to sleep. I was like, whoa, that really freaked me out. But I had a lay in the next morning, which was quite nice, and I got up nice and early, did my aura class in the morning, which was just kind of like an overlay of the night before. And yeah, then we went straight on into, what did we go into? Psychic development. Now, when I say psychic development, this was focusing on particular our clear senses. So basically depicting someone by physically being able to look at them and psychically know something about them. So we had to tell them quite a lot about themselves, look at that person, and now that kind of helped with their aura, because we'd obviously learned that all the auras mixed together. So I could pick up on their, if you want to do it scientifically, I could pick up on their the information from their EMF waves and mine, okay? Because all of us emit certain neurons and atoms out with information in, okay? We know that scientifically there's shit here. So when you're with people, you can pick up on that shit, okay? That's my way of describing it scientifically. Anyway, and so we did some psychic development, and we basically had to like picture this person, or build a picture of this person, or a memory of this person's life into our life. It was harder than I thought it was. Okay, I got the names, I got the information, like the bit right, but I felt that I was using connection to spirit more than I was using my psychic abilities. But I repaired up with, so I got one right, and I got like a picture of a house. I drew the house because I didn't really know how to explain the house, so I drew the layout and everything like that, and it turned out to be their mum's house. And then I got paired with someone else, and it was kind of like, what can you tell me about this person? Read this person, psychically read this person, and tell me what you can tell me about them. So I had this new partner, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And he was like, yeah, that's what I do. I knew nothing about this man, and he was like, yep, this is what I do. I used to do this at school, and then I did this, and this was the answer to this bit, and so on and so forth. And I was like, shit. It does freak me out when I hit the nail on the head, if that makes sense. And I did not know anything about this person. I found it hard to depict like certain senses or certain tastes and certain noises. That bit was hard. And then when we moved on to doing kind of like a group reading, so like the whole class basically tried to predict and get psychic answers from one person in the class. It's kind of like a bit of like a group exercise. I found that my tables were putting down the same answers, but they weren't necessarily the right answers to the person who we were trying to read. But we were all kind of merged together, so what I was thinking someone else was thinking, and our whole table were getting very, very similar answers, which to me was kind of like a science experiment. I was like, ooh, I'd want to test this in like bigger capacity and see what happens. Like if I went around to every single table, was it just our table that did that, or did every table pick up on their own table's answers, and did that table get it right, or do you know what I mean? It's just, it was quite interesting, really interesting. Very hard work, like entirely hard work. And then we moved straight on into spirit connections, so you're actually using spirit and psychicness to read someone. And again, I had the same little girl that I had the day before, where I'd read her necklace and got this vicar through for her. And this time I got a man and a lady through, and I was like, but they were on either side of her. So I was like, you've got a granddad on your dad's side, and you've got a grandma on your mum's side. And we were writing letters, and I find it very, very easy to write letters to people. I find it quite hard to sit there and go blah, 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 blah. I say quite hard, it's not hard, it's not as flowing. That's the word, I'm not in the flow. But when I'm writing, if you ever see me write down anything spiritual, whether I'm in a meditation or like my past life regression, which we'll get on into a minute, Jesus, this is long, my handwriting changes because my spirit guide takes over my hand. So when I'm in that state and I'm reading for someone, I'm physically writing a letter, my hand just flows, and I'm just free writing, free flowing. And I read this letter out, because we all had to read the letter out per group, and I read this letter out, and she was like, yeah. And I thought, okay, fair enough, that's fine. And then her mum came over to me, so she was with her mum and her auntie, and her mum came over to me and was like, I really want to say well done to you. And I was like, why? Thanks, obviously, but why? And she was like, everything you said was true. Like, my mum passed away a couple of weeks ago, and this was the last thing that she was doing, and this is what she said, and this is the last way she kissed. Like, because we use the method where you have to basically say who it is, get the evidence, the reason they're here, and how they would say goodbye. And I basically said how I felt, and like what I was hearing the name sweetheart, and I was physically feeling like I was being hugged and kissed on the head. And she was like, that's what happened, like genuinely well done. And I felt really proud of myself, because I, as a young person who had just had the day before my nan come through from someone else to a reading like that, a reading which hits home, and I'm so thankful and taken back, and that faith and that happiness that's given me, knowing that she's on the other side and she's talking about it, that the fact that came through, I kind of felt proud of myself for being able to give someone else what I had received the other day. It's like I had received it, so I'm giving it. It's like all nice karma. So that was really, really lovely. And then we spent the afternoon doing past life regression and astral projection. And past life regression I have tried before. I've spoken to you guys about it. I get blocked. And I spoke to Jason about this, and Jason was like, I'm going to be doing it a different way. then normal, so actually that's okay, you won't get the blocks. And I was like, right, okay. So I got all snagged up, which I'm sure you guys would see, and we did 3 meditations, the past life meditations, and I got a result every single time, which made me so happy, so happy. So the first time, and I might go do a different story about this because we are now half an hour in. The first time I was physically watching my life, I was quite young. The second time I went back into another life, but this time I didn't so much necessarily I did get some pictures, but it was more like looking through an album book of pictures of all these stories, and then it was kind of illustrated in a way. So like the big army fight that was there, that was all illustrated. But the last meditation we did in pairs, and the reason we did it in pairs was so that one person could ask the other person questions while they are under. And I thought this was amazing. I got so much detail out of my past life that I'm extremely happy. I've always wanted to try it this way because that's how I've read the book. I've always wanted someone to basically ask me the questions while I'm under. But by doing this method, it not only got me more detail, some people really didn't get on with it. Some people were like, just leave me alone. I don't talk to me, I'm in my past life. Whereas I found it easy, but this time, although we went under the same way, I was watching, and I could physically know that I was watching my past life. But every time someone asked me a question and I was answering, it was the lady on the screen answering, but her mouth wasn't moving, it was my mouth moving. And I instantly knew that I was that woman. I was answering as that woman. And I'm convinced it was my last past life. The reason for that is the type of fabric that was on the clothing is very, very modern. So although I lived in a very, very small community in quite a native land, and it was very much hoodoo magic. I was a hoodoo lady, which could explain why I'm so interested in hoodoo now. Which is why I'm saying I think it's my last life, but it was quite a modern time. Like I said, the fabrics were modern and the spices that I had were modern, and everything like that was modern, yet I was still in quite a small community, a small native community, somewhere, I'm assuming Africa, that type of area, but I was in a small community, but it was modern. So I am convinced, because when someone said, do you know what time era it is, I said, not that long ago. So, as in like, it's within the 1900s, do you know what I mean? I was born in 1994, so I really believe that it was kind of 1950s, 1960s time. It wasn't much longer before that. I still haven't figured out how I died, but I got so much detail. And what I noticed in all 3 past lives, so we had the conversation that what you find is a lot of the time you come back and you have the same problem occur in your lives. So therefore, until you learn your lesson, you continuously have this problem. And I have said it 100 times, and I will say it again. I am here to get over fear. Okay, I'm an anxious person who fears a lot of things, who has spent all her life basically trying to get the hell over it. And I'm 100% convinced that that is what I'm here for. I'm here to basically learn how to control fear, learn how to manage fear, learn how to manipulate fear. And the common thing that happened in all of these lives, the first one, I was lonely. My parents got blown up in the war. I was lonely, I was left to fend for myself, I was shipped off. The second life, my partner, my love, got killed. This is a brief summary. Got killed, and I was forced to live a life that I wasn't happy with. I was obviously royal, pretty much. So I was forced to live a life that I wasn't happy for. I didn't speak up, and because I didn't speak up, obviously that person got found out and killed, and therefore I was responsible for his death. In the third life, I was under a chief. So even though we were in this small native community, and I was like, people would come to me for healing, people would come to me for cook, and I was cooking this massive meal for like all 10 huts. I was still under the control of someone else. So I experienced fear, I experienced not being able to speak up for myself, I experienced the consequence of that. And what I learned was, actually in all these lives I've had fear, and I've let fear control me, or fear cause me to be miserable. And I was like, that light bulb, ooh, I went off in my head, and I was like, wow, the fact that I know that I'm here for fear, and I have said that a million times, at least I'm aware that I'm here to manage fear. But now looking at my past lives, I can go, wow, actually, and I can pull, ever since I've come back, I've been able to pull a little bit of each of them there, because I feel like I know them, not because I've watched them, but because they are me. And I was saying this on the way home, on the drive home, I was like, They were me, I was them. So therefore the lessons they had, the way they looked, like I thought one of them was absolutely stunning. Why should I worry about my body if that is how beautiful I am? Because I've seen my soul, I've seen this woman, I've seen me in so many different ways that I look at it now as my soul. My soul is beautiful, my soul is happy, my soul needs no fear, my soul is that sassy woman, my soul can like build shit, my soul is a fucking royal, okay? Like that's how I looked at it. I was like, wow, I'm that person. So that was just absolutely, no exaggeration, life-changing for me. Absolutely life-changing. So need to do so much more work on it, but I got so much further in myself and I learned so much by going further as well. And then last but not least, we went astral projection. I love astral projection. Astral projection, so much fun. I've done it before. Have I ever gone as far as I did? No. Again, we tried a different method. I feel like because I'd spent the whole weekend on such a vibe that it was easy and I got a more intense astral projection. I don't really know how to explain astral projection. It felt like I could feel my physical body for somewhat time. Then my physical body went numb and heavy and basically felt dead to the world. When I was moving my hands and my legs, and I consciously knew I was moving my hands, but I also knew that I was not here, so I was not in Emily. Emily was very much KO'd on the floor, and I was out exploring to the point I looked down on everyone. I even took a picture afterwards. I took a picture of Sky. I was like, that's exactly where I was. Like that pinpoint right here. I'll try and put it on the screen. That pinpoint right here is where I was, which was cool. And I came back. I struggled. We did it twice. The first time I went quite far and I came back, but I came back slowly. The second time, something happened while I was in the astral that I felt something in my body, so which basically pulled me back quite quickly. I don't know what it was. I can't really explain it even to you guys what it was, but while I was in the astral, something happened to Emily, or to Emily's, whether or not that was I got kicked or touched, I don't really know, but I was back and I was half in the astral, half in my body at that point. So that when I came back round, I felt sick. I had a bit of a struggle with myself, like I was half in, half out, and I just had to lay there. I couldn't really explain what was happening. I was dizzy, I was sick, my head was killing me, and it took quite a while, I'd say about 20 minutes, but lucky enough I spoke first, where basically I eventually got round and I thought, okay, I can stand up and I can sort myself out. The lady next to me, or the two people down from me, had the same problem. She woke up and she was like, why has everyone got a halo around them? And I was like, what? And I knew exactly what she meant, because when I was looking, everything was a little bit yellow still, and she really was not back, like really was not back, needed help to get back. But I was kind of like, no, I knew that I wasn't back. I knew it's not the first time I've experienced that. When I first ever did a meditation to try and contact spirit, when I came back, I physically saw I was above my body. So I was here, I was looking down, I could see my body and I could see my granddad, who was obviously not here, directly in front of me. And it literally took, and I've spoken about this before, for me, I travel quite easily. I get knocked out of my body quite easily. I'm not very grounded. And I get knocked out of my body quite easily, where I'm just like even when I'm asleep, just before I'm about to go to sleep, I am literally watching myself asleep on the bed. This is not the first time it's happened, so I'm quite good at talking myself back into my human body. Not that I wanted to, but I basically then just chilled. I went and got a cup of tea. I did my usual steps. So I went outside, I put my feet on the ground, I had my tea, I put sugar in it, like to physically get those, like my physical human Emily senses back working to pull me in. And that really did really help. So we had dinner, got all my stuff ready, and as we were talking about dinner, we were talking about the next retreat. And I ended up booking the next retreat there and then, because it was absolutely fabulous retreat. I told my friend, I've been messaging and voice noting my friend the whole entire time, like, oh my god, this happened, oh my god, you'd love this, blah 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 blah. And I was like, please come with me in March. And she was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, no, I want it in writing, I want it in voice note. So I made her partner voice note and say he'd look after her children so she could come with me. So again, I'm putting it out here, Dan, of course you're probably watching this. I have saved the evidence that you can come on the retreat with me, and I am going to keep that, and this is now being put out to 1,300 of us that you are coming, okay? But I booked that, so excited, and I actually can't wait. It's so far away. It's not really that far, it's about 6 months, but yeah, far away. And we finished the night by doing a fire ceremony. So because of the autumn equinox, we basically had something, we were at equilibrium, so we had something that we would be thankful for, would like to bring in, something we would like to get rid of. I'm not telling you what it was, but I had one of each, and we chanted, I put them in the fire, and literally as we closed down the circle, my ride rocked up and I had to go. And now I'm here 2 days later, 20 minutes away from having to have another meeting for the day, with my little Fluffy. Come on, look at the little baby. Yes, you want a blanket? I saw him in the astral. They came to visit you, didn't they? Did they come to visit you? So yeah, I've been back now for 2 days. I literally got straight into work. I had a really bad come down yesterday because I was like so high over the weekend. My vibes were so high and I had so much stress yesterday, and I felt that because I was so open, where I had been open all weekend to these new experiences, I was still open when I got back, and therefore I absorbed a lot of negativity. As Jason was saying, as we learned over the weekend, we marinate with people. Our energies marinate together, don't they? Yes. And I marinated with everyone yesterday. I was extremely stressed, but I am so happy and so grateful for the experience. Like I said, I'm going to go again. I'm obviously going to go again. I've booked it. There are a few spaces left, so I will leave the link down below in case you want to book, because it's actually a really fun weekend. I don't get anything from saying this, I never do, but it's a fucking good weekend. So if you're interested, I will leave the links down below. And now I'm going to try and edit this all together in 15 minutes before my meeting. Wish me luck. I think I'll probably just have a coffee and upload it later. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're still even here after all of this recap. And yeah, I will see you with some tarot videos later on this week. They're a lot more fun, a lot more interesting, a lot less heavy, as always. And I promise I will wear makeup then, because look, I have brushed my hair, but your girl is just energetically drained, and tomorrow is her first day off. Okay, I'm going to energetically recharge after my heavy weekend. So when you guys said to me, like, what did I mean by I'm back on Earth? Now you fully get why I said I was back on Earth. I was not on Earth for about 6 hours through past life regression, astral projection. Literally from about lunchtime until 7:30 at night, I was not on this planet. So yeah, I will see you in a couple of days, and I hope you had a lovely morning, afternoon, evening or night. Bye guys.